Imagine Earth, but without human lights. The cities are gone before they exist. No roads cut across the land. Forests, rivers, and grasslands remain unbroken. The oceans have no ships or harbors. Wild animals move without fences. One evolutionary branch simply never rises. No tools, fires, farms, or machines. Earth is not empty without us. It is alive in another way. To understand this world, look backward. Humans were never guaranteed to appear. Evolution is a branching accident. One path could have ended earlier. No hand would shape the first stone tool. Fire would remain only a natural force. Cave walls would stay silent and unpainted. Continents would have no human migration. In this timeline, humans never arrive. Rivers would flow without villages. Fertile land would stay wild. Empty clearings would remain only clearings. The first village would never be built. The first city would never rise. Other primates would still live in forests. Grasslands would follow predator and prey. Great herds would migrate without fences. Predators would hunt by natural rules. Plants would spread without farming. Lightning would still reshape the land. Rivers would move without dams. Ice ages would come and go. Warm periods would return naturally. Coastlines would change without ports. No engineers would redesign the planet. Wolves would never become dogs. Wild animals would never become livestock. Crops would never be selectively bred. No human language would name the world. Ecology, not civilization, would rule. The human world becomes only a ghost. Our absence would leave no empty throne. From space, Earth would look darker. And the story of nature would continue. Without humans, fertile valleys stay wild. Floodplains would grow plants, not crops. Wild grains would never become fields. Forests would reclaim open land naturally. Herds would migrate without barriers. Food webs would balance without hunters like us. Temperate forests would cover more land. Steppes would remain open migration routes. Savannas would follow older natural rhythms. Grasslands would stretch without fences. Island ecosystems would stay more isolated. Lightning fires would still shape landscapes. After fire, new growth would return. Rivers would flood without dams. Wetlands would remain rich and alive. Mountains would guide rivers and animals. Coasts would change without ports. Oceans would breathe without fishing fleets. Night would stay naturally dark. Biomes would follow climate, not borders. Wildlife corridors would remain connected. Agriculture never arrives in this world. Without humans, animals shape the planet. Large herbivores would engineer open landscapes. Beavers would expand wetlands naturally. Predators would move through connected wilderness. Herds would cross rivers without bridges. Forests would stay full of animal life. Savannas would follow older ecological rules. Northern wilderness would remain truly wild. Rainforests would spread without large-scale clearing. Grasslands would breathe with grazing and fire. Predators would help regulate the balance. Oceans would hold richer animal movement. Seabirds would nest with less disturbance. Islands would evolve in isolation. Insects would pollinate wild ecosystems freely. Scavengers and decomposers would recycle nature. Every species would connect to another. Megafauna could remain more widespread. No city would replace their habitat. Migration routes would cross entire continents. Animal movement would shape the world. Wildlife becomes one of Earth's main architects. Without humans, cities never appear. Skylines would fade before they begin. Riverbanks would never become settlements. Fertile land would not become farms. Roads would never divide the wilderness. Mountains would remain uncut by tunnels. Deserts would have no highways. Oceans would have no fleets. Night Earth would lose every city light. No satellites would circle above us. Factories would never darken the horizon. Resources would stay underground. No power grid would cross the land. The digital world would never exist. Time would follow nature, not calendars. History would never be written. The world would speak through natural sounds. Borders would never divide Earth. War would never reshape continents. Pollution would never spread globally. Technology would leave no footprint. And the planet's atmosphere would change too. Without humans, the atmosphere changes differently. Industrial smoke would never fill the sky. Carbon would move through natural systems. Forests would store carbon in living wood. Oceans would exchange gases with the air. Wetlands would hold carbon in waterlogged soil. Old forests and peatlands would remain undisturbed. Volcanoes would still affect the atmosphere. Lightning fires would still release smoke. But nature would recover through cycles. Ice sheets would still grow and shrink. Warm periods would still return. Climate would not become perfectly stable. But human pressure would be missing. Changes would follow slower natural patterns. Animals could migrate with shifting climate. Rainfall would reshape rivers and grasslands. Coastlines would move without seawalls. Night skies would stay clearer and darker. From space, Earth would look more natural. The climate machine would still be complex. And evolution would keep moving forward. Without humans, evolution does not stop. Primates would continue as forest animals. Mammals would adapt to open landscapes. Islands could produce stranger life forms. Ocean life would keep changing freely. Birds would diversify across wild habitats. Insects would evolve with untouched plants. Predators and prey would shape each other. Large herbivores would spread future forests. Predators would keep selection pressure alive. Forests would evolve through endless cycles. Grasslands would shift with fire and rain. Artificial selection would never exist. Nature alone would choose survivors. Future animals could look very different. Intelligence might still appear elsewhere. Crows, dolphins, elephants, and apes show clues. Complex minds could rise in many branches. No single ruler may control the planet. Biodiversity would become Earth's main story. The human branch fades from possibility. But another mind may still emerge. Could another intelligence rise instead? Birds might solve problems with tools. Dolphins could build complex ocean societies. Elephants might preserve deep social memory. Apes could learn from each other. Octopus-like minds could explore the seas. Evolution offers many possible minds. Communication would take different forms. Learning could pass between generations. Simple tools might appear in nature. But intelligence needs the right body. Ocean minds may never control fire. Birds may lack strong manipulating hands. Elephants may think without building machines. Apes might become social, but not human. Intelligence may stay local and ecological. Fire would remain mostly uncontrolled. Metals would stay locked underground. No cities may ever rise. No single species may rule everything. A smarter Earth may still stay wild. And the human world would never begin. Without humans, Earth still has a future. Forests would thicken across quiet valleys. Old ecosystems would mature without disturbance. Grasslands would shift with rain and fire. Rivers would redraw the land naturally. Coastlines would move with the sea. Ice ages would still return. Warm ages would still follow. Continents would keep drifting slowly. Mountains would rise and erode. Future animals would take new forms. Oceans would evolve without our ships. Islands could create stranger species. Intelligence might remain scattered and local. No species would write Earth's history. The night sky would stay truly dark. Disasters would still shape the planet. Cosmic events would still pass by. From space, Earth would remain alive. Biodiversity would become the main legacy. The human branch disappears completely. But the planet does not stop. A world without humans is not empty. It is only empty of us. Civilization was never guaranteed. Earth would continue without our cities. Nature would not need our names. Evolution would keep writing new branches. Animals would move through connected worlds. Oceans would breathe without our machines. Forests would deepen without our roads. The night would stay truly dark. Natural cycles would still rule everything. There would be no memory of us. Earth does not depend on human history. Storms, fire, ice, and life would continue. Future species would inherit the planet. The human branch would simply never open. But the world would remain alive. Our absence would reveal something humbling. Earth is not owned by humanity. We are only one possible story. Without us, the planet still turns. And nature writes the ending.